Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be reviewing and discussing Cress by Marissa Meyer. This is the third book in the Lunar Chronicles series, and this is a fairy tale retelling of Rapunzel. The first one was Cinderella, then we had Red Riding Hood, and now we have Rapunzel. For most people, from what I've heard, this is their favorite book in the series so far. For me, my favorite is still Scarlet. I went into this with fairly high expectations because so many people said this was their favorite of the three of them. I don't know if maybe that's why I didn't love it as much. This one was not my favorite. I just liked Scarlet as a protagonist the best. I liked her as a main character the best. Cress was not my favorite narrator. With that being said though, I still did really enjoy this book. I didn't dislike it. It just took me a little bit longer to read than the other two. It was a little bit more slow moving for me, and I wasn't as invested in Cress's stories as I was the other two stories, just because Cress as a character kind of drove me a little bit crazy. Once we got into last half of this book, I was completely gripped. It got so good. So much action happened and so many things happened at once. Can't wait to see how all of it plays out in winter. It's gonna get so good. So I can't really say too much about this story because it is the third book in the series. So if you haven't read Cress yet, you shouldn't continue to watch this. If you haven't even read Cinder, you shouldn't be here at all. If you would like to know a little bit more about the series, a little bit more about Cinder, the first book, I will link my review for Cinder down below. I'll also link Scarlet down below. So for those of you who haven't read Cress, so long, farewell. I will see you when you've completed this book. Like I said, this is a fairy tale retelling of Rapunzel. Instead of being trapped in a tower, Rapunzel is trapped in a satellite orbiting Earth. Instead of being an avid painter, she is a mastermind genius hacker. I love the way that Marissa Meyer tweaks these stories to fit in her science fiction world. It's great. Let's start off with the big fight scene at the beginning. Sybil comes to Cress's spaceship. That whole thing goes down. Cress was just kind of standing there being completely unhelpful. There had to have been some kind of weapon to use on that spaceship if you would have just killed her then, you could have avoided so many other issues later in the book. She didn't even try to fight back against Sybil. She just let Sybil just walk all over her, send her ship crashing down to Earth, and abduct Scarlet and take Scarlet to Lunar. Cress didn't even try to put up a fight, and I was annoyed by that. Cress is kind of a little bit useless sometimes. Very timid and a very hesitant character. Yes, she's been on a spaceship almost her entire life and does not have very much experience in human interaction. She is just too passive for me, and I think that's what really prevented me from enjoying this book. She was very timid. Spoke very softly. Kind of sat in the corner. I'm like, speak up! You're this genius hacker. You are an intelligent individual. Give your opinion. Do something. Standing there being useless because you don't know anything about Earth and you've never been outside of your spaceship does nothing for anybody. And it drove me nuts when Scarlet is kidnapped and taken to Lunar. Her grandma is Michelle Benoit with Cinder, and Cinder's whole operation thingy was done in her basement. Cinder had that special chip in her neck to prevent her from being controlled. You would think that her grandma would take advantage of that and install a chip into her granddaughter as well. But nope, grandma never took advantage. Scarlet can obviously be controlled by Lunars, taken to Luna. And that's pretty much the end of Scarlet. I wanted to see more Scarlet in this book. And Thorn is the only person that goes to the spaceship to rescue Cress. Why did nobody go with him? Cinder maybe could have gone with. That's kind of potentially dangerous because what if Cinder got kidnapped? And then there's Wolf. Almost equally as unhelpful in this book as Cress was. Wolf spent most of this book being either unconscious or in a complete state of uninhibited rage. It's like trying to keep a lion as a pet. It's cute and cuddly, but it might bite your head off and kill you if you don't watch your back. He's very dangerous to have around, so they keep him sedated for most of the book. So what's the point of even having Wolf with you if he's not going to be of any use and you're just going to have to lug around this 200-pound muscular man everywhere because purposely keeping him unconscious. I was sad that Scarlet was taken to Lunar, auctioned off or sold. I don't know what happens, but she's in this care of this little boy who is torturing her. She's his torturing plaything. They cut off her pinky, then she's given to Winter. I don't know how you pronounce his name. I was always pronouncing it Jessine in my head, but is it Jason? It might be Jason. I wasn't really sure if I should trust him or not. He did come with Sybil. He says to Cinder, "Oh, I serve our one true princess." And we're thinking, oh, he means Celine. He's serving the one true Princess Celine. And then we find out that it's not actually Princess Celine. He's actually serving Princess Winter, which makes me think that Jessine will, or Jason, whatever his name is, will be Winter's main love interest. But Princess Winter is batshit insane. She's losing all her marbles. When a Lunar doesn't use their gift, it makes them go a little crazy. Anytime that she spoke, it made no sense, just in riddles. Probably about 16 to 19, but she acts like a psychotic 8-year-old. And she's terrifying. She's creepy. She acts like those creepy children in horror movies. I'm interested to see how they're going to tie Winter into this ragtag band of eclectic characters. Maybe her and Scarlet will become allies in some way, and she'll be their in on Luna. So although I wasn't entirely thrilled with Cress as a character, I did like Cress and Thorn together. They had a great dynamic. She was just so naive, oblivious to so many things, and Thorn is a criminal, so he's much more savvy in the street smarts area of life, and she's not. There's a scene right after they crash on their descent to Earth. He gets hit upside the head and is now blind. So they're in the middle of the desert in Africa, and he goes, "Cress, tell me what you see." She goes, "It's just so beautiful. I've never seen a sky this blue. I've never seen a world this lovely." And he's like, "Could you be more specific, please? Are there hills? Are there mountains? Is it dark? Is it light? Do you see animals? Are there people? Is there grass?" And she's just like, "It's so beautiful." But I did feel really bad for her because she does so much hacking into his life, and she feels like she understands him and has an inside look into who Thorn really is as a person. That's kind of how she starts to fall for him. Then Thorn debunks every good deed he's ever done with a more sinister, selfish motive. She was just so hopeful, and she's such a romantic. I didn't think it was funny when she says that she loves him, and he's like, "Well, aren't I the only man that you've ever met? And it's me, so how could you not love me?" It was just such a Thorn thing to say. Thorn did have a redeeming moment. He stopped to get that escort android's body for Aiko. That was really sweet of him. He was thinking of somebody other than himself, which was very rare for him. I was not aware that these androids could be so realistic looking and were so advanced that they could be mistaken for humans. And that's terrifying enough to where Cress didn't even realize that it was an android and thought it was a human that Thorn was flirting with. Those things could totally take over the entire world. They're smart computer machines that look just like us. That's terrifying. And I totally wasn't expecting Dr. Erland to be Cress's dad. That kind of came out of nowhere. She first meets him and then knocks him out because she thinks that he's trying to kidnap her. She just finds out that it's her dad and then he dies. I mean, that was really sad. That was crappy. And he dies of that mutant plague. I want to know, how did this plague mutate? How can this plague all of a sudden now affect Lunars? And can it affect all Lunars? Are there still people who are immune to it that they can draw an antidote from? And I liked that they kidnapped Kai. And it wasn't like a gentle, "you need to come with us," and then he willingly goes with them kind of kidnap. No, Cinder straight up shoots him with trait darks and they haul his ass out the building. They believe so much in their cause that they're just like, "Forget it, we're just going to shoot the Emperor of the Commonwealth with trait darts and we're going to take him." And then Cinder and Kai are reunited and finally have a chance to talk about all of their issues. The last time that they'd seen each other, Cinder shot up his ball. He finds out that she's not only a cyborg, but she's also a Lunar. He was accepting of her being a cyborg, curious about it, but in a way that wasn't mean or demeaning. And I also liked when she was trying to tell him that she was Princess Celine. The princess has been found. She's not really what you were expecting. She's kind of part cyborg, and he's not getting it at all. Kai is just not following her. It's me. I'm talking about me. I'm Princess Celine. One thing that did bother me, though, about Dr. Erland being Cress's father, he treated Thorn like this boyfriend that wasn't good enough for her. Even though he doesn't know Cress, like he had a right to care. This guy has saved her life. When you're gonna treat him like that, that's not cool, dude. Cinder keeps saying that, no one understands her. Kai really does. So Kai was thrust into this leadership role of running an entire country, and now Cinder's being thrust into this role of ruling her people. And Aiko was just great in this book. Igo's great in all the books, but she's just so funny, and she was just so excited to get this new body, and she loved it so much. And then Wolf had to go and destroy it. I was so glad that they were able to save her and that she didn't actually die, because I would have been so sad if she really did die. Kai comes in and she goes, no, don't still let him see me like this. He can't see me like this. You can see her androidness. She's just such a fangirl, a Kai groupie. Speaking of that fight on the rooftop, that was insane that Cinder drove Sybil mentally insane, that she jumped off the building. I really liked that, but that sounds twisted to say. Sybil deserved it because she was a terrible person, and I did not like her. I mean, what does that say for Cinder? I did like how when we met Winter, her favorite candy was an apple flavored candy. What are they gonna do about the dwarves though, and her love for animals? She had all those animals in cages, but then what if Winter wants to be queen? Like, how is she princess? Is she princess by marriage? Wonder if that will be like a point of conflict. The Cinder versus Winter, who's going to be queen. But I think that's all I had to say about this one. Tell me down below what you thought of this book. What was your favorite one in the series so far? Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye!